Cruisers are pushing back against rising gratuities in last quarter of 2025. This year, many passengers boarding their ships were stunned when their all-inclusive vacations suddenly came with unexpected charges. Cruise lines have quietly raised daily gratuity fees, a move confirmed by a recent report from The Travel, which highlighted how more companies are increasing these automatic charges in 2025. In this video, we'll uncover why gratuities are climbing, how it impacts both passengers and crew, and the smart ways to avoid overpaying without crossing the line. By the end, you'll be fully prepared to handle gratuities on your next cruise. Number 9. Booking sites lie with math. Most first-time cruisers assume that the price shown on booking sites is the price they will pay, but that's often far from true. What many sites show is only the base fare, without including added costs like automatic gratuities, port fees, and service charges. These extras are tucked away until the last step of checkout or only revealed on your final invoice. That makes cruise fares look deceptively low, pushing people to click book before realizing the real total. Imagine thinking your trip costs $600, only to see it balloon to $800 once all hidden fees appear. One article from the Points Guy explains that automatic gratuity charges on major cruise lines can reach $25 per person per day, and that families can see more than $70 per day in service fees for a cabin of 4. These fees are not per room, they are per person. That's why the low price you saw may be missing nearly 1/3 of the true cost. Travelers also report booking discounted cruises only to face surprise charges that dramatically raise their final cost. In Reddit cruise forums, some say they expected extra taxes and port fees, but didn't expect gratuities hidden in the fine print. So here's what you should do. Always run a total cost check, some base price plus hidden fees, gratuities, port charges, service charges before you commit. Later in this video, I'll show you how to do that in under 2 minutes so you never get blindsided again. Number 8. New ways to tip directly are popping up. On one recent sailing, a guest asked her cabin steward how she could show extra appreciation beyond the automatic tip. The steward quietly showed her a QR code the crew uses. It linked to a digital tip app that deposited funds directly into the steward's account. That simple change avoided corporate pooling or processing fees, letting 100% of the tip go to the person who served her. In fact, Condé Nast Traveler recently noted that many cruise lines are increasingly adopting electronic tipping systems and incorporating automated tip structures so that cash isn't the only way to tip. These newer tipping paths, QR codes, peer-to-peer transfers, and crew-managed tip apps give you control. You can decide who gets what, avoid hidden cut fees, and make your tip immediate and personal. But using them correctly requires some care. You need to check ahead whether the cruise supports them, know which apps or platforms are accepted, and sometimes share proof screenshots so the crew member is credited. Do it discreetly so it doesn't make crew feel awkward. When used smartly, this method changes the dynamic entirely. You stop tipping the system and start tipping the person. Stick around, I'll walk you through the platform names many crews already use, so you can test this yourself on your next cruise. Number 7. How to remove gratuities the right way. Many passengers don't realize that they do have control over automatic gratuities. Every major cruise line allows you to visit guest services and request that these daily service charges be removed from your bill. It's completely within your rights, and plenty of cruisers use this option, sometimes because they want more transparency, and sometimes because they don't trust how much of that pooled money actually reaches the crew. But here's the catch. If you remove the gratuities and then walk away without tipping in another way, the only people who lose out are the hardworking staff who make your cruise enjoyable. The smarter, more ethical approach is what seasoned cruisers call the direct tip method. Here's how it works. Remove the automatic charges, then bring an envelope of small bills, usually singles or fives, and tip your cabin steward, your main dining servers, and even buffet attendants directly. This strategy lets you protest the cruise line system while ensuring the people who clean your room, serve your meals, and bring extra towels are not left unpaid. In fact, many frequent cruisers say staff remember direct tippers more warmly, since the appreciation feels personal and immediate. A recent discussion on Cruise Critic highlighted this exact debate, with several travelers confirming that while you can remove the automatic charges, crew members rely heavily on tips for their income. That's why it's important to find balance. By taking control of how gratuities are handled, you send a clear message to the cruise line while still rewarding the very people who made your vacation possible. Number 6. Crew prefer cash and being named. Again and again, when cruise ship staff are asked what matters most, two answers come up: cash and recognition. Cash tips are immediate. The crew member can use them right away without waiting for payroll deductions or service charge distributions. For staff who often support families back home, that instant access can make a huge difference. But surprisingly, many crew members say that recognition through name mentions in surveys or reviews is just as valuable, and sometimes even more powerful. Why? Because cruise lines don't just measure performance by smiles or complaints. They rely heavily on passenger surveys after each sailing. When you write down a crew member's name and describe how they went above and beyond, it can unlock real rewards for them. These include bonuses, perks like free Wi-Fi or phone cards to call home, more flexible schedules, and in some cases, faster promotions. Cruise Critic even notes that recognition through official surveys is one of the most effective ways to support crew, as management directly tracks those mentions. Think about it this way: a $5 tip might be spent in a day, but your kind words written on a survey can echo through that person's career. Many repeat cruisers have found that when they combine the two, cash in hand plus a name mention in writing, the impact is far greater than either gesture alone. It shows gratitude in the moment, and it helps the crew member long after you've left the ship. The real secret is simple: do both, and you'll leave a lasting mark that money alone cannot create. Number 5. Social proof is fueling a movement. Something fascinating is happening in the cruise world right now: the rise of social proof. For years, removing gratuities was considered a controversial choice. Most passengers avoided even talking about it, fearing it looked selfish or unfair. But in 2025, the conversation has shifted dramatically. Online forums, Facebook groups, Reddit threads, and dedicated cruise communities are now filled with travelers openly sharing how they removed automatic tips and encouraging others to do the same. When respected or longtime cruisers post, "I removed mine and tipped in cash instead," it creates a ripple effect. What was once taboo quickly becomes normalized. Social media is making this easier than ever. Screenshots, step-by-step guides, and even TikTok videos now show exactly how to adjust gratuities at guest services. According to a report from Cruise Hive, online communities have become a powerful influence on cruise behavior, with peer-shared advice often shaping first-time cruiser decisions more strongly than official cruise line policies. When large groups of passengers start following the same pattern, cruise lines cannot ignore it for long. This is how fringe ideas become mainstream. First, a few people break tradition, then experienced voices validate it, and finally, entire communities make it feel like the smart thing to do. If the trend of gratuity removal continues to grow, cruise lines will have no choice but to respond, whether that means raising fares, adjusting policies, or finding new ways to guarantee crew pay. And if you want to stay ahead of these shifts with insider hacks and breaking cruise news before anyone else, now is the perfect time to subscribe. Every week, I bring you updates that help you cruise smarter, save money, and avoid hidden surprises. Number 4. Price hikes pushed passengers over the edge. Numbers don't lie, and in 2024 and 2025, they told a story that left many passengers frustrated. Several major cruise lines raised daily gratuities by $2 or more per person per day. On paper, that may not sound like much, but multiply it across a week-long cruise and a full family, and the increase becomes shocking. A family of 4 can now pay an additional $400 or more in gratuities for a single trip compared to just a couple of years ago. For many travelers, that's more than the cost of shore excursions or specialty dining combined. What used to feel like a fair thank you to the crew now feels closer to a hidden tax. This is why so many passengers are questioning the system. Are these charges truly tips meant to reward excellent service, or are they just a way for cruise lines to shift the cost of wages onto guests? That uncomfortable question is now spreading across social media, cruise forums, and travel blogs. According to Cruise Hive, multiple cruise lines confirmed gratuity increases in 2024 and 2025, with daily charges now reaching as high as $20.25 per person. For frequent cruisers, these hikes aren't just small changes, they represent hundreds, even thousands of dollars across multiple vacations. When passengers feel like tipping has crossed the line into mandatory taxation, resentment builds quickly. And once that resentment takes hold, it spreads fast. The question of whether gratuities are truly voluntary or simply disguised wages is at the heart of today's tipping debate. Coming up, we'll look at how this issue isn't just financial, it's deeply tied to contracts, policies, and corporate decisions cruise lines don't want you to see. Number 3, the wage paperwork that changes everything. Here's the dirty secret cruise lines don't want you to think about. Gratuities are often not a bonus for excellent service at all, they're the foundation of crew paychecks. Crew contracts frequently list shockingly low base salaries, sometimes just a few dollars per day. The rest of their pay is expected to come from automatic gratuities collected from passengers. That means when you leave gratuities on your bill, you may not actually be rewarding someone for going above and beyond. Instead, you're funding the cruise line's payroll system, a system they've shifted onto guests while still advertising bargain-based fares. This creates the biggest ethical dilemma at sea. If passengers believe gratuities are optional thank yous, but in reality they make up most of the cruise wages, then the word gratuity is misleading. Cruise law experts have reported crew members working long shifts while receiving base pay as low as $50 a month, with gratuities making up the rest. According to The Guardian, investigations into crew pay have revealed widespread reliance on tips to meet contractual obligations, raising serious questions about fairness and transparency. Once passengers learn this, they can't unsee it. It flips the whole conversation. Removing gratuities doesn't just punish the cruise line, it cuts into what the crew depend on to survive. Yet keeping them often feels like enabling an unfair wage system. This blurred line between wages and tips is what makes the gratuities controversy so powerful and so difficult to solve. Number 2, when transparency backfired spectacularly. In early 2025, one cruise line decided to do what passengers had been asking for, be more transparent about gratuities. They released a detailed breakdown showing exactly how each dollar of the service charge was distributed among staff. On the surface, it seemed like a smart move, but instead of reassurance, it sparked outrage. Passengers quickly realized that their money wasn't going straight to the steward or server they wanted to reward. Instead, it was pooled, spread across different departments, and in some cases, even across other ships in the fleet. Suddenly, what was meant to feel like appreciation turned into frustration. Social media lit up with angry reactions. Cruisers compared the practice to subsidizing the cruise line's payroll system under a nicer label. Posts went viral with people calling it a tax disguised as a tip. According to a report in Cruise Industry News, gratuity pooling systems are becoming increasingly common across major lines, which only fuels the debate about whether these fees are really optional or simply mandatory charges hidden under another name. What the cruise line thought would build trust instead confirmed what many passengers already suspected. Gratuities don't feel like bonuses anymore. They feel like part of the system, an obligation rather than a gesture of gratitude. Once this truth spread online, it changed how thousands of passengers approach tipping. The debate exploded from small forums to mainstream discussions, and it directly fueled the movement to bypass or remove gratuities altogether. This is the moment when controversy turned into a full-blown passenger rebellion. Number 1, a structural risk cruise lines can't ignore. Here's the truth. Right now, only a fraction of cruisers actually go to guest services and remove gratuities. But that number is growing fast. What was once rare is now creeping into mainstream behavior, and cruise executives are watching it closely. Because if too many people follow this path, the entire financial structure of cruising will be shaken. Think about it, gratuities aren't just an extra for many crew members, they make up the majority of their income. If more passengers stop paying, cruise lines will be forced into a corner. Do they absorb gratuities into the base fare like Australia and the UK already do? In those regions, passengers see one higher upfront price, but tips are built in and crew don't rely on passengers to make payroll. Or do they raise base prices worldwide, risking sticker shock and losing the very price-sensitive families that keep ships full? And then there's the riskiest option of all, clinging to the old system, hoping most passengers stay quiet. But with online groups and social proof spreading fast, that gamble could backfire. Once trust collapses, it doesn't come back easily. This is why analysts are calling the gratuity debate a structural risk. It's not just about $14.50 per person per day. It's about whether the cruise industry can keep its model afloat without alienating its most loyal customers. One thing is certain, the way gratuities work today will not survive unchanged. And whichever way it goes, it's going to change your cruising future forever. So there you have it, the gratuities controversy of 2025 is bigger than you think. But now you know how to protect your wallet and appreciate your crew in the right way. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more insider cruise tips. Click any of these videos on your screen and I'll see you in a moment.